Up close tonight, a mountain climber, but unlike any other. Tomorrow morning, he's expected to reach the top of Australia's Mount Kosciuszko. In fact, Good Morning America expects to talk to him from the mountain. He thus completes the of mountain climbing, the 7 summits, the 7 highest peaks on the 7 continents. He climbed Everest last year. Only 100 or so climbers have done the 7 summits, but what distinguishes this man from all the rest is that he is blind. Tonight, up close, Erik Weihenmayer.
Because I've always been the kind of person that gets scared. People may think, well, a person who climbs Mount Everest, they must just not get scared. And that's totally the opposite. Because I can't see, I envision the mountain like 20 times bigger than what it really is. And I picture it 10 times harder than it is, or steeper. So yeah, your mind is, creates a lot of fear. And I've always tried to push past it because the tendency is for me to become paralyzed.
Leading us through Erik Weihenmayer's extraordinary story tonight, my Nightline colleague, Don Dahler.
He's been climbing since he was 16. Fuzzy memories and his other senses help him picture the mountains he can't see since he became totally blind at the age of 13. In a world where 70% of blind people are unemployed, Erik Weihenmayer has found a way to make a profession out of his passion. He has a sponsor, gives motivational speeches, and has written a best-selling book. All this while wrestling his way up the world's tallest peaks. If he were not blind, his accomplishments would be impressive. But he is, and that makes what he does almost unbelievable.
I climb mountains because I love it. I mean, I love it, but I think a blind person climbing mountains is so unexpected. I mean, to me, it's like someone called me a Jamaican bobsledder one time. It's so weird that the words don't connect in people's brains, and I think to make new connections in people's minds, I mean, what it does, if you imagine a blind person standing on top of Everest, some people don't even know what to think, some people don't believe it, some people are sort of forced to reckon with something that they maybe didn't think was possible, and what that does, in a sense, it sort of takes their perceptions of what's possible or not, and it shatters them. And I think that's good, because then you have to rebuild those perceptions, and I think it creates opportunity, essentially. I mean, it kind of raises the bar, and I figure that's good. And if a blind person climbing mountains, being an unexpected kind of thing, encourages people to go out and do their own unexpected things, I think that's cool.
When you're out there, say on the climb today, the training climb that I saw you do, walk me through the thought process. What are you thinking? What are you concentrating on as you're doing that? And how do you apply that to this goal of yours?
Well, what I'm doing out there today is not only getting in shape physically and honing my rock climbing skills, but I'm preparing mentally as well. I'm working on placing protection in the rock, jamming pieces of gear into the rock and clipping my rope in, and setting up good anchors and controlling the rope, managing the rope and being as efficient as I can, and learning to work with people like Jeff or Chris, who I'm going to be climbing with. When you're out on lead and you're climbing, you got a route find, and I do that by feeling my route, by feeling the path of least resistance, which has a tendency to get you in trouble, I guess. Not being able to see up the route and pick a really nice route up the face.
You can only see so far as you can reach, basically.
Yeah, basically my hands are my eyes, my feet are my eyes, and I have to use those to my advantage, and it works. I mean, it works okay.
Up, around to the left of that bulge, and then it really flattens out.
I do use people's eyes to kind of look up the route and say, you know what, I think there's a crack to your left beyond your reach, and I'll try to get over into that. But most of the time, just feeling my way up and using the path of least resistance works. I mean, but it doesn't always work. I mean, sometimes there's super complicated route finding. But I'm just out there trying to figure out as a blind person how I can climb mountains, and be a contributing member of the team, to be part of the reason why we get to the top. And so you're really coming together as people and becoming stronger as a result, and that's how you get to the top of a mountain. There's nothing competitive about it. I mean, you're not really even competing against the mountain. You're working with the mountain to help get to the top.
Most of us first heard about you when you did climb Everest, the first blind person to do so. Can you still not quite believe that you accomplished that? I mean, when you think back on it, does it still strike you as this unbelievable achievement?
Yeah, I think it's totally crazy, and I think it's totally unbelievable, and I think, am I the guy that did that? I mean, it's sort of, in a sense, a lot of the hardship sort of drifts into the back of my mind, and I just think about the fun parts, and I think maybe I should go back there.
But it was hard. And
then I think I really start remembering all the misery and all the hardship, and I think, no way, I'll never go back to that place. So I don't know. It's definitely sort of a surreal experience. I mean, I know how hard it is, but I almost have trouble seeing myself being that person that went through the steps day after day to get to the top of that mountain. I think to myself, I don't have the strength to do that. And then, on a mountain somehow each time I find the strength to do it. And, it's great to be able to rise to the occasion, but when I come back down from the mountain, I'm just as lazy as the next guy.
Erik Weihenmayer was 3 when he was diagnosed with the rare degenerative disease retinoschisis that eventually cost him his eyes, which were replaced with very realistic prosthetics. He married his wife Ellie on Mount Kilimanjaro, and they now have a baby daughter, Emma, both of whom have given him some clear ideas about beauty.
I can't live my life as a sighted person, but I have different sort of feelings of beauty, that have to do with what I can enjoy, actually. And, like my wife, nice skin, and she's got nice muscly calves, and the shape of her body, or the sound of her voice, and the conversations, the things she likes to talk about, all those things are what I call beauty now. When I think of my wife, she's beautiful, but I don't think about what she looks like.
Do you think that your mother was your visual image of beauty? Is that what stays in your mind because she was so beautiful and you lost her at a relatively young age? When you think of a beautiful woman, is it her face that you see?
I do, yeah. I still can sort of picture my mom's face. But even my mom's face, I can't remember it perfectly. When I try to put together like a human face in my mind, it's so intricate. I've been blind for 17 years, I think, and when I try to do that, the pieces, it's like when you can picture a face, but when you try to draw it, it doesn't come out the same way. When my mind tries to draw a face, it doesn't come out the way it really looks. And so it's a frustrating process for me. And so in a sense, I've just given up on that. I just say, what's the point of that? There's certain questions you can ask yourself in life that just lead to dead ends. The mind, I guess they say it never forgets really, but somehow I can't picture what my dad looks like. I sort of remember what I looked like when I was 13. Greasy hair, braces, zits, skinny little dorky guy. But I don't know. It's just so the visual world is just sort of beyond me, and I've accepted that. And when I'm in the mountains, my friends will describe these beautiful sunsets to me, the alpenglow of the mountains, the way it turns orange like cake frosting. And I can understand all that conceptually. And it definitely helps me to create a little bit of a mental picture. But, honestly, even that's futile.
Over 10 long years, his sight slowly diminished into complete blindness, which for an active teenage boy was nothing short of torture. How difficult was it knowing the eventuality versus what happens to some people where they're just suddenly blind, a blow to the head or something like that? Do you think it was worse?
I don't know. I feel like, in a sense, going blind over a long period of time, I lost a lot of time because I was in this transitionary period for such a long time.
And you refused to accept it in some ways.
And I didn't accept it because I could see just enough that I thought maybe I could fake it. And then I tried to compensate by being sort of the boldest kid, running across the ice the first time, or before anyone else.
Aren't you kind of still doing that?